It's that time of the month, which means it's time to do what every other film YouTuber does and recap what I watched this previous month. There's a grand total of 16 titles I need to cover, so grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's jump right into it. Pablo Larraín's Spencer is, God, how do I even describe this film? It is not at all what you think it would be based on the trailers, and on the surface level, this film seems like another biopic with nothing much else going for it other than the impeccable color palette and set design. But once you actually watch the film, you quickly start to understand that this isn't just a normal biopic. Rather, it's an examination into the psyche of Princess Diana at the particular moment in her life that this film takes place. Overall, outstanding filmmaking on all accounts, and I hope to God that Kristen Stewart gets at least a nomination for this film. I know. Well, in my defense, this was not my choice for movie night. It was the brain-numbing decision of my friends who were higher than Snoop Dogg has ever been. And guys, I'm not gonna lie. Once you get the drinks flowing, and this movie is fucking insane. If you get the drinks flowing, this movie is fucking insane. Like, nothing in this movie at all is good other than the fact that once you're no longer sober, this is one of the greatest movies of all time to watch. Also, we definitely got like 30, maybe 35 minutes into the movie before I had to shut it off. And everyone in the room was like kind of mad at me, but I was so happy. It was like being in hell for 35 minutes. If y'all don't know what this movie is, then you're one of the lucky ones, because oh my God, should this movie not exist? The plot of this movie is a school shooting happens, and this teenage girl essentially becomes both John McClane and John Wick and has to save the day. And yes, this was another one of those films where you have to get the drinks flowing a bit to enjoy it at all. And the only reason this film is a half of a point higher than The Cat in the Hat is because once this girl starts going John Wick mode on the shooters, it's actually pretty entertaining and kind of relieving. I just want to start by saying that the ending of this season is fucking amazing. The way that, spoiler alert, but the way that Hawk jumps onto the mat right before he kicks Robbie's ass and he says, "I'm gonna win this whole fucking thing," like that was a really good Goosebumps moment. But overall, you guys, especially towards the end of the season, I love the way that the tournament is split into 2 full episodes. It is so exciting because in the first season when we last saw the tournament, it was only 1 episode. But the fact that we get 2 whole episodes dedicated to not only the fights of the tournament, but the like specific challenges that the students have to do, so like punching through boards, and shit like that. So it's not just the fights that wins the kids the tournament, they have to actually compete in different challenges. I'm going to talk about the end of the season a lot, just because that's like, going into a Cobra Kai season, there's like, the first half is pretty good, but once you get to like that second half and you get to the last like 2 or 3 episodes, that's when a majority of like the big plot heavy stuff starts to come together and resolve, and you get all these big moments. So for example, at the end of this season, Robbie and Johnny, I had no idea that Tanner Buchanan, who plays Robbie, had those kind of acting chops. It actually kind of caught me off guard. It was almost jarring to see him put on a performance like that. Well, I'm saying a performance as if he deserves a fucking Golden Globe or an Oscar. But yeah, I mean, going forward, I am so excited to see the dynamic in the relationship between Robbie and Johnny, especially with how this season ends. It's going to be very, very interesting. Definitely give Cobra Kai a watch if you guys have not already. I think I can confidently say that I no longer give a shit about where this franchise goes after this god-awful prequel. I mean, even sitting here writing the script for this part of the video, I'm struggling to think of anything positive to say about it. Like, I almost want to lower the score that I have for it as a 1 out of 5 to a 0 out of 5. And I mean, I guess the film as a whole is well shot and the action is well choreographed, but the script is just, it's not only a mess, but it's a boring mess. Like movies like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, for example, is a fucking mess of a movie. That script is ass, but it never loses your attention. The Kingsman is the type of movie you find on HBO late at night at like 3 in the morning and you pass out to. Yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. It is very boring. It's great to fall asleep to. I guess my biggest issue with Sing isn't the animation or the performances even, or really the direction. It's the fact that the story exists solely to string together a series of very popular songs with just, really cute dancing animals. There is an underlying message to never give up and to chase your dreams regardless of your anxieties or the thoughts of the people around you, but I do feel that, like, about halfway into the film, the movie just completely loses that message, and with losing that message, it completely lost me. I wish it could have held that message and that theme throughout the entire movie, because once you lose that theme and you lose that central idea, that is one of the worst ways that you can hurt your film. You guys, I completely forgot how awesome and fun this movie is. I hadn't seen the original Scream in years, so going back to watch it in preparation for Scream 5, I was more than pleasantly surprised by how well the movie is not only made, but how well it holds up and how effective Wes Craven was with his direction. My only complaint with this movie isn't even with the movie, it's with myself. I wish that I was a little bit older so I could have been there opening night instead of watching it on my iPad in the early 2000s, already knowing who the killers were. I'm not going to lie, the trailers for this movie were not good at all. Pretty much they summed up the premise fairly well, just they told the premise as if it was going to be Sydney that was leading the movie and not the I forget the actress's name, but the girl that was in The Heights. So pretty much they sold you a movie that was not really what you were getting, but thankfully the movie overall was still fairly good and fairly entertaining. The amount of gore and overall more of a serious tone compared to the other Scream films was, at least to me, quite refreshing, but I do understand that a lot of the diehard Scream fans aren't really a big fan of that more serious tone, and spoiler alert, that Dewey death, that definitely needed to happen, okay? I've never understood this sentiment that because it's a legacy character and it's original character, and this all started back with the Star Wars sequel trilogy when those came out and they killed Han, Leia, and Luke. Just because they're legacy characters doesn't give them protective plot armor. That doesn't make any sense. That's just one, it's lazy writing to just protect them because they've been there the longest and because they're original characters. If anything, writing it to where they die, if done correctly, there's a lot of meaty emotional shit there. And two, mindless fans that just truly believe killing a legacy character destroys everything that character has done in the past. Like, Han Solo dying didn't erase what he did in the original trilogy, and same with Luke and Leia, and even Dewey in the case of Scream. It doesn't erase what they've done in the past. Yes, it is hard to watch and it's very heart-wrenching, but that's also a reason why they died, so we can get that emotional impact. And in the case of Scream 5, Dewey needed to die, because if he didn't die, there's no stakes in the movie. We don't care if we see a bunch of teenagers that we've never seen before die. If like one of our main characters, Dewey, Sydney, and Gale, if they're put into actual danger where they can potentially die, that's real stakes for the audience, because we, as an audience, aren't expecting them to touch these original characters. But hey, I mean, that's just my opinion. Joel Cohen's Macbeth adaptation is nothing short of perfection. This film in every way is top-of-the-line cinema. I just really wish that I could have understood it. Now, like most people, I read the play in high school, so going into the film, I was pretty familiar with the story. And the fact that I couldn't fully understand every bit of dialogue isn't the movie's fault. I think that the choice to keep the dialect as its original Elizabethan language was the perfect choice. Like, though not many people by today's standards would be able to follow the film dialogue-wise, which is why it could be a risky choice to have it in the original dialect it was written in. Thankfully, the way Joel Cohen directs this film, he makes it to where you can understand, you can follow what's going on if you're just purely watching the visuals and not listening to any of the dialogue. And I could go on about this film for days, but not only do we have 8 more titles to get through, I've got a lot of Shakespearean language that I've got to brush up on before I can actually discuss this film. This show is such a fucking surprise, you guys. Like, what James Gunn has been able to do with Peacemaker is so damn impressive, it almost pisses me off. Like, Gunn was able to take a character that was not only unfamiliar to the audience, other than his appearance in Suicide Squad, in which he kills a fan-favorite character, but he takes a character that is just so flawed and is such an asshole piece of shit, and just turns that character into something that we sympathize with by completely deconstructing him. It's so impressive. It's like Gunn walked into the office and one day and was like, how can I make my job harder? Oh yeah, I'll take an asshole that no one knows other than the fact that they killed a fan favorite character, and I'll make them easy to sympathize with. I'll break them down. We'll just get behind this person's psyche. Like I said, that is no small feat whatsoever. It's almost like he, wanted to make his job harder. So take that excellent character development and combine that with Gunn's bombastic, vulgar style, and you get what is now the #1 in-demand streaming show, if you guys didn't know that already. I already made an entire video on my channel talking solely about this show, so if you'd like to hear my in-depth thoughts on the show, you can find that here on my channel. But long story short, this is honestly one of the best shows on television right now. My current favorite show is still Succession, which is also on HBO, but man, would I be lying to you if I didn't say that every day that passes, and I think on Euphoria, it is slowly, and I mean very, very slowly, starting to take that #1 spot from Succession. Going into these episodes, I of course was excited because I had just come off the high that was the first season of the show, but a majority, like an overwhelming majority of my friends that watched these special episodes all pretty much agreed that these episodes were slow and very boring. Guys, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because these episodes are absolutely amazing. I think I do prefer the Rue episode over the Jules one, but both are extremely important to not only following the show as it leads into season 2, but both episodes do some amazing character work for not only the two leading ladies in Rue and Jules, but the side characters surrounding each of these girls, like especially Ali's character. Like the information that we learn about him in that episode, it's very important, and I definitely feel like it's going to come back up later on in season 2. So for the people that missed specifically that Rue episode, I feel like they're going to be very lost on what's going on. But what I'm trying to say here, you guys, is if you have not seen these special episodes yet and you are currently watching season 2, what the fuck are you doing? You got some homework to do. I mean, do I even need to say anything? Casablanca is one of, if not my favorite movie of all time. I am so thankful that growing up, my mom showed me a bunch of Humphrey Bogart films, and other than To Have and Have Not, I think Casablanca was the film that stood out to me the most, even at a young age. So I believe it was about 2 weeks ago now that me and my mom went to the theater to see a Fathom event screening of Casablanca, and I had seen the film on the big screen before, but that was nearly 12 years ago. If you haven't seen Casablanca or any of Humphrey Bogart's films, you've got some serious homework to do, because you're missing out on some of the greatest pieces of cinematic history. This movie doesn't need any more attention than the 2 hours I already wasted watching it, so let's just move on. The Fallout is another film that I have a review up already on the channel, so I'm going to keep my thoughts here very short and sweet. I think Jenna Ortega gives the performance of her career this far, and Megan Park's vulnerable and emotional screenplay opens the door for the conversation that we as a society need to be having regarding mass shootings, particularly the mental health of those that survive such a tragedy. This film is available for streaming on HBO Max, and if you would like to check it out, I definitely would highly recommend it. Netflix's latest Korean horror series brings a concept that honestly I've been dying to see done in a zombie story, and that is what happens if the zombie outbreak starts in a high school. Oh, and on top of that, the zombies are straight out of Train to Busan, which in my opinion are the most terrifying ways to do a zombie. While the show is very good, it is most certainly way too long. There are 12 one-hour episodes with some of them, I'd say more than half of them, running an extra 10 minutes past that hour mark, and while I did like the show a lot overall, by the time I was on episode 10, I was more than ready for the show to wrap up, despite the show having two whole episodes left of storytelling. And that is what I watched last month. What did you guys watch, and what did you guys think of what I watched? Feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, and let's start a dialogue. Thank you guys all so much for taking the time out of your day to check out this video and my channel. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.